So if you're moving to Colorado and you're starting to plan your house hunting trip, I'd really encourage you to take a few important steps before you ever book your visit. Take a little time to prepare. Now, that might not sound very exciting because most people think the first step for searching for a home is online. And honestly, I get it. It's exciting. You start scrolling through listings, saving your favorites, imagining yourself living here. That's exactly what most people do. But after helping dozens of buyers relocate to the West Denver suburbs, I've learned something. The buyers who have the smoothest relocation usually aren't the ones who looked at the most homes before they got here. They're the ones who took the time to prepare. And that's what this video is all about. I'm going to walk you through the same process that I use with my relocation buyers before they ever come to Colorado. Now, searching online is a great first start, but because I found that it helps people feel more confident, more organized, and much less overwhelmed when it's finally time to visit. So the very first thing I'd like to do is schedule a strategy meeting. Most of the time we meet over Zoom because it's easy. We're face-to-face and we can really get to know each other. And believe it or not, that first conversation isn't really about houses. It's about you. I want to know why you're moving. What's bringing you to Colorado? Is it a new opportunity? Is it retirement? A lifestyle change? Are you hoping to be closer to loved ones? Whatever your reason, it matters. Because the reason you're moving usually shapes every decision that comes after it. Then we start talking about your life. Not just your wish list on a house, your life. Tell me what a perfect Saturday looks like when you're not working. What do you enjoy doing? Do you love being outdoors? Would you rather spend your weekends hiking, biking, exploring mountain towns, or trying new restaurants? Is entertaining important to you? Or how much space do you really need? How important is your commute? Those answers tell me so much more than simply knowing you want 4 bedrooms and a 3-car garage. Then I ask 2 questions that almost always make people stop and think. What are your biggest concerns about relocating? And what's your biggest fear about buying a home from out of state? Sometimes it's making the wrong decision. And sometimes it's buying in the wrong community. Sometimes it's wondering if they're moving too quickly. And there are no wrong answers. I ask because I want to understand what matters most to you. The more I understand your goals, your concerns, and the lifestyle you're hoping to create, the better that I can help guide you through the process. And once we've had that conversation, now we can start building a plan. One of the next things we'll talk about is financing. If you're planning to finance your purchase, I'll be sure to introduce you to a few trusted lenders so that you can compare your options and decide who feels like the best fit. And getting that piece in place early helps everything else fall into place. It gives you a clear budget. It answers a lot of questions. And it allows us to focus on homes that truly fit your goals. Now, the next step is building your home search. Now, this is where I do something a little bit differently. I don't like making assumptions. Instead, I build your search around everything that you've shared with me. Sometimes buyers think they know exactly where they want to live, and sometimes they're right. But there are other times that once we talk through their lifestyle, the commute, hobbies, and long-term goals, we realize that there may be another community that deserves a closer look. That's why I like to start with a search that's broad enough to give you good options. And then we'll refine it together as we learn more. Because by the time you come to Colorado to visit, I want you looking at homes that truly fit the life that you're hoping to build. Not just homes that look good online. And as you begin receiving homes, we'll continue refining your search together. Sometimes that's through email. Sometimes we'll schedule a second strategy meeting. And well, honestly, I certainly welcome that. Because once you've had a chance to look at homes for a week or 2, questions almost always come up. Maybe you've realized a certain style of home appeals to you more than you expected. Or maybe you've ruled out a community that you originally thought you'd love. Or maybe you've discovered something that's now become a priority. That's all a part of the process. I'd much rather make those adjustments before you travel to Colorado than while you're here trying to make important decisions in a short amount of time. And another question that I hear all the time is, so what's the Colorado market like? And that's a great question. And one thing I always explain is there isn't one Colorado market. The market in Littleton, well, that can look very different than the market in Golden. Golden can be different than Lakewood. Lakewood can be different than Arvada. Even neighborhoods within the same city can have different market conditions. That's why I like to start with a broad overview of the market. Then, once we've identified the communities that you're seriously considering, we can focus on the information that actually applies to your search. That way, you're making decisions based on the neighborhoods that you are interested in, not the headlines or statewide statistics. And as we get closer to your visit, we'll also talk about what the next steps look like. Some buyers like to schedule another strategy meeting before they travel. And, well, others prefer to review everything once they arrive in Colorado. Now, either approach works well. And one of the things we do before we begin touring homes together is we review the paperwork needed for us to work together. Now, some buyers prefer to complete that before they travel. And others, well, they like to sit down together once they're here and go through everything face to face before our first showing. Now, either option is perfectly fine. The important thing is that before we begin touring homes, all of the required paperwork, it's already been completed. You've had time to review everything, your questions have been answered, and you feel comfortable moving forward. I never want paperwork to become the focus when you've just found a home that you're excited about. I'd much rather you understand the process ahead of time. So when the right home comes along, this way you can focus on making a confident decision, not trying to learn everything all at once. We'll also talk about expectations for your visit. How many days do you have? What does a realistic schedule look like? What should you bring? How can we make the best use of your time? I always recommend wearing comfortable shoes. You're certainly going to do a lot more walking than you probably expect. Dress in layers. You never know with Colorado weather because it has a way of changing certainly throughout the day. And bring a notebook. Or you can use the Notes app on your phone because after you've seen several homes, the little details, well, they can start blending together. Write down what you love and what gives you pause. This can make comparing homes much easier later. And if you're relocating for work, I also encourage you to drive the commute while you're here. Not just look at it on a map, actually experience it. A drive that looks easy on your phone may feel very different during your normal work hours. Now, these are the kinds of things that you can only discover by being here. And by the time you arrive in Colorado, I certainly don't want you wondering, what happens next? Because I want you to feel like we've already built a relationship, that you understand the process, you know what to expect, and most importantly, you know that you have a plan. Because when you have a plan, you can stop worrying about the process and start getting excited about your move. That's always my goal, to help you feel informed, prepared, and confident long before we ever unlock the front door of the first home that we tour. And if you're thinking about moving to Colorado, I hope this gives you a better understanding of what I'd recommend doing before you ever plan your house hunting trip. Because a little preparation now, well, it can certainly make your entire relocation experience much smoother, less stressful, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Now that you know how to prepare before your visit, in my next video, I'm going to share why I don't usually recommend touring homes on the first day in Colorado, and why taking a different approach has helped so many of my relocation buyers make more confident decisions. You'll find that video in my Moving to Colorado Relocation Roadmap playlist. And if you found this video helpful, I really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people who are planning a move to Colorado find these videos. And if you have a question about relocating, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And it may even become a topic of a future video. Until next time, remember, life is short, live somewhere awesome, and be well. We'll see you next time.